I've been practicing law for 35 years but never imagined I'd face corruption in my own backyard. When the HOA started moving my boundary fence, they had no idea they were messing with the wrong man, a senior federal judge. Today, I'll tell you how I taught a greedy HOA and their arrogant president a lesson they'll never forget. This wasn't just about property lines. It was a war between justice and unchecked greed. And let me assure you, the ending is as satisfying as any verdict I've ever handed down. After my wife, Sandra, passed away, our suburban home became unbearably silent. 30 years of marriage ended by cancer. That's when I decided to move back to Willow Creek, the Texas town I grew up in. My parents' old ranch sat on 20 acres of open land, bordered by the property of Elijah Williams, my father's best friend and my childhood mentor. When Elijah offered to sell me 5 acres of his land, I accepted without hesitation. It included a creek I had fished in as a boy. The transition from district courtrooms to ranch chores was oddly therapeutic. My leave from the bench was indefinite. Out here, I was Max Richardson, not Judge Richardson. The quiet and hard work helped mend the grief. Sheriff Sarah Johnson, a high school friend, welcomed me back over coffee, joking not to go sentencing her deputies. She also warned me about the local HOA Lakeside Estates Valley. They're aggressive, she said, expanding too fast. A lot of complaints. But they're tied in with the city council. I brushed it off. HOAs were annoying but manageable. I was wrong. Very wrong. 3 weeks after closing on Elijah's land, Maria Gonzalez, who helped on the ranch, called me in a panic. "Senior Max, men are moving your fence. They say they have permission." I sped home. A crew was replacing my boundary fence with a white picket version 15 feet inside my property line. The foreman introduced himself as Greg Mitchell, landscaping manager for the HOA. I examined the map he was using, unofficial, no county seal, no legal backing. "This is private property," I told him. "You need to stop now." Greg acted like I was being unreasonable. "This land falls under Lakeside Estates jurisdiction now. Talk to Mr. Harrington at tomorrow's meeting." I called Sarah. She arrived in 15 minutes, reviewed the documents, and ordered the crew to stop. Greg wasn't happy, but they left. The damage was done. Stakes with HOA logos were planted 5 feet into my land. At the meeting, I met Victor Harrington, the HOA president. His charm was as fake as the documents. When I demanded proof that my land was part of the HOA, he produced a supposed agreement signed by Elijah. It looked forged. Elijah's signature was shaky, the language vague. Victor pressed on. "You'll need to bring your property into compliance. Remove livestock. Redesign your mailbox. Stop agricultural activity." He even implied I should sell to Sun Ridge Development. They'd offer you 20% over market. It was a threat disguised as opportunity. "If you truly had the law on your side, you wouldn't need intimidation," I said, leaving. Amanda Pierce, the HOA secretary, caught up with me in the parking lot. "You're not the only one," she whispered. "Others were pressured too. Some documents are fake." I called Sarah and shared my findings. Then I contacted Samantha Davis, a brilliant real estate attorney I'd once mentored. We devised a strategy: professional survey, documentation, testimonies, and an injunction. Elijah confirmed the signature was forged. He'd been hospitalized when Victor and the HOA lawyer tricked him into signing what he thought was a water permit. I got the original plat maps from County Clerk Michaelchin. The HOA's changes weren't legally processed. Deborah at the assessor's office confirmed my property taxes were still filed under Elijah's name. Samantha was livid. "We have them on fraud, elder abuse, and trespassing." She mapped out a plan. Meanwhile, I met with Frank Miller, a neighbor. "They stole 2 acres from me," he said. "Had my signature on a paper I never saw." I fought. Spent 15 grand. Lost. Amanda called again. "Sunridge is planning a resort. Victor's grabbing land to sell to them. Be careful." I realized this wasn't an HOA overreach. It was a land consolidation scheme for a luxury development. And they were targeting vulnerable property owners. Linda Peterson, a surveyor, documented that the HOA fence encroached nearly a full acre onto my land. The next day, Jeremy Foster, HOA's lawyer, arrived. Smiling but smug. "Let's settle this amicably," he offered. I record everything. His offer: join the HOA, remove livestock, obey rules. In return, they'd waive fines. How about this, I said. Remove the fence, acknowledge my property rights, and apologize. Or I sue. He smirked. Fighting us will cost more than money. You'll lose peace of mind. Sunridge offers 20% over market. Take it. Texas is a one-party consent state, I told Samantha. I got it all on tape. The next day, a letter arrived, 17 violations, $750 daily fines. I sent it to Samantha. Perfect. They've documented their fraud in writing. She filed for an injunction. That same morning, Greg returned with workers. More stakes. More photos. I recorded it. 3 days later, Judge Harold Bennett presided over our injunction hearing. Samantha presented the survey, forged docs, Elijah's affidavit, my recording. Jeremy painted us as stubborn ranchers blocking progress. When asked about my background, I revealed it. I'm a senior federal judge on extended leave. I didn't disclose this to avoid bias. The room gasped. Victor turned pale. Then a woman stood up. I'm Diana Foster, Jeremy's wife. I have evidence. She handed over a USB with a mail sproof of a conspiracy between HOA officials, Sunridge, and county staff. Kickbacks. Forged signatures. Bribes. Jeremy exploded. Judge Bennett threatened contempt. After recess, Bennett returned. Injunction granted. This matter is referred for criminal investigation. Mr. Foster is referred to the ethics board. Chaos erupted. Reporters flooded the courthouse. Outside, I made a single statement. No one is above the law. Property rights matter. The investigation uncovered a sprawling scheme. Over 20 landowners targeted. 200+ acres illegally acquired. All part of Sunridge's resort plan. Victor got 5 years for fraud and conspiracy. Jeremy got 3 and lost his license. Sunridge CEO Richard Hughes was sentenced to 8 years. HOA board members were fined, sanctioned, or resigned. Amanda became head of a new community council. Greg helped restore damages. We used part of the settlement to fund scholarships, including for Jeremy's daughter. Elijah and I established a conservation easement to protect the land permanently. Sarah and I grew close. A year later, the Lakeside Estates sign was replaced with a humble wooden post, Willow Creek Community, Est. 1887. Standing beside Elijah at the unveiling, I felt peace. This fight wasn't just about boundaries on a map. It was about standing up to corruption, holding power accountable, and restoring the idea that the law protects those who dare to speak up. To anyone being bullied by an HOA or a powerful developer, know your rights. Document everything. Seek help. And never forget, justice still has teeth, even if it's wearing cowboy boots and holding a tomato plant.